Hello and welcome to the Bristol United podcast, the pre-season episode. So after a little break, we are back. My name is James, and this week, yet again this season, I am joined by first team manager John Gilborson. John, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you, James. Not bad at all. How are you?
Good. I'm right, mate. Thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Can't complain. Like we just said before we start recording, football is on its way back, so that's good, and we've all got something to look forward to, haven't we? So.
Most definitely.
That's good. Now, before we get into the football chat, can we do our mental health and well-being check-in on a scale of 1 to 10? How are you?
Oh, I'd say a good strong 8. It's brought down slightly by watching England these last 4 games, but yeah, I'm in a good place.
Good. The England games haven't been the best, have they?
No, they've been very trying to watch, haven't they? Very trying.
Yeah, with a very good moment the other day, or 2 good moments the other day with the goals, but other than that, it's been a hard watch, hasn't it?
Very, very much so.
What have you made of the tournament as a whole so far? I mean, we're going into the quarterfinal stage now, aren't we? So.
Yeah, but for me, I mean, obviously being my age, I've seen a lot of tournaments. What I would say, not just this tournament, probably the trend over the last 12, 15 years, I think the level of football from what you would say is the elite nations, I think is coming down. I don't think the quality is there of what it used to be. And on the flip side of that, the quality of the, so to say, lesser nations, I think is coming up. And I think the gap's growing ever smaller. And I think you're seeing that with some of the performances, some of the results. The lesser nations ain't quite on a par yet, but I think the trend over the last 10, 15 years, I think they've come up in the world, and the elite levels have gone down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like the game yesterday on Sunday against Slovakia, where we played. I mean, going back, like I said, 15 years ago, you would have expected to like steamroll them sort of 4 or 5-0, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just not happening nowadays. And also, I do think as well, looking at our players, there's quite a bit of fatigue in the top players as well.
Yeah, I mean, it comes into this thing of, I know they keep saying about sort of mid-season breaks. I don't think that has much to do with it, but in terms of the amount of games is being played, is a constant that our players look constantly fatigued going into tournaments most of the time over the last 20 years. But at the same time, everybody moans about playing too many games, but as soon as the European money rolls around, they can't wait to play those games. So
it comes back to money again, unfortunately, doesn't it? But that is top level football, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely is.
So on a completely different scale to that, obviously the Bristol United pre-season is about to start this coming Saturday.
Yeah. So we start. We've been in training for 3 weeks now because we have a bit of a later start than what we would normally have because the season sort of finished late last year because of the poor weather over the Christmas period and just after.
Yeah.
So we start back. We've been in pre-season about 3 weeks now, and we start back with our first sort of competitive football this Saturday. And you're right, and it's in a tournament at Highridge. So. Bit of a different one because it's not 11-a-side, it's 6-a-side tournaments on a 9-a-side pitch. So it's something we haven't entered before as a club, and we've got 2 entries with the first team and the reserves this year. So looking forward to a good day. I'm fortunate enough to play in these type of tournaments and win a couple of times when I was sort of younger, and it's definitely a good tournament to play in if you go on and do well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and like you said, you got the first team, and it'll be the first outing for the reserve team, albeit in a 6-a-side showing. But how are the 2 teams looking and coming together?
It's gone very. I had a feeling it would go well, but just taking on, like bringing in a new team and taking on 25 to 35 new players is always challenging. But all credit to the new lads who've come in, and credit to the sort of existing players who've been welcoming. A lot of new faces and names to learn, but I think it's gone far better than I could have hoped, really. And it's I'm really pleased with how it's gone. And yeah, it's long may that continue. But credit as well to our two sort of reserves managers. Well, our manager's John Carpenter, the manager, and his assistant Scott Norton-Ashley. They've done well, and and it's just sort of bedding new players in, having a look at them. Some will desperately want, some will want, and then some you might think actually they're not quite at the standard we need. But luckily enough, all players what joined us this year, they're of pretty good quality. So really pleasing.
And obviously, I mean, I watched the training video that was posted on YouTube. I watched that the other night, and I was looking, and I was thinking, don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's some new names to learn and people to meet, which is great. Is the sort of nucleus of the first team squad the same as last season?
Yeah, we haven't lost any players at all. Obviously, helped with last season's. We're a progressive club, as you know, James. But last season we had a game promotion, which is always a sort of good place to be in a club. But yeah, we've had no turnaround of players at all. So it's we've retained everybody within the club, and that's like fantastic news for us all.
That's good. I mean, it bodes well for the season ahead that you've got a settled squad with new additions as well. So that's good. In terms of pre-season, I mean, you sent me the pre-season schedule the other day, which I don't know if it's been released or not, but there's a fair few fixtures, isn't there?
There is. So, I mean, it's one of those, it's pretty much a similar thing to what we've done the last two seasons, because for different reasons, though, this year, because last two seasons, it was about taking, certainly the first season, 25 new players and giving them enough game time to sort of bed in as a team, to learn their young players, to learn how to play together. So that was like a strategy done on sort of purpose in terms of maximising the sort of unity and patterns of play. This year, we've done pretty much the same, but for slightly different reasons, because some of the reserve teams the reserve team will have some games themselves, and I think they got 5 or 6. But for some of ours, we're sort of at 14, 15 pre-season games. Some of them is tournament invites. We've been invited back to the Fries Cup this year, where we made the semi-finals last year, so that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But it also gives me a chance to have a look at some of the reserve team players in a first team setting. So watching reserve team players just play with reserve team players, that's all well and good, and that's great. But sometimes as well, you need to look at 4 or 5 players mixed in with what on paper you would deem a better team, being the first team.
Yeah.
To see how they sort of fare with first team players. So there's going to be a lot of players at the club this year, and with those games, again, for me, it was a no-brainer to be able to give people opportunities to shine individually in their own reserves or first team, and also to look at them as a sort of mixed team to see what it's all about.
Yeah, because I noticed that there's 4 in August. There's 4 Saturdays where the first team and the reserve team are at home on the same day. So
yeah,
will that be a case of sort of mixing the squads around a little bit on those games?
Probably not so much in August time, because that's right before the season kicks off. So there's going to be an element of some 1 or 2 players moving in and out.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping towards the end of pre-season, then we both have ideals of these are looking like first team starters for the foreseeable future, and these are looking like reserve team players for the foreseeable. But I mean, you know as well as I do, football's a funny thing with one injury, one suspension, somebody getting called up and coming in and playing well. It can all change overnight. But I would certainly hope that those last couple of games we're looking at having squads, an ideal from the management point of view of who belongs in what squad.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, eight games in July and 5 in August. So that's 13. That's including the tournament on this weekend. The first pre-season game is away. So the first 11-a-side pre-season game is away against Long Ashton on the 10th of July, which is a week tomorrow. 6:45 kickoff. So that'd be good for the boys to get a run out and get those legs going again.
Yeah, and it's one of those games which I'm using as sort of part of the pre-season because they'll probably be taking a squad of 22 to 24 players for that game, and probably look at giving 45 minutes to every player, certainly 22 players. And using that as part of, is a competitive match, of course, but also part of the pre-season process at this stage of, you can do all the running you like, you can do all the ball work you like, you can play all the training games you like. Nothing's like playing an actual game. So that's kind of a mixture of getting 45 minutes in whilst players are still building fitness levels and stuff like that. So that's a good opportunity for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you mentioned as well about the Fries Cup, which I know is a highly competitive cup that we've been entered into again this season, and that is on the Thursday, the 18th of July. So I would say that's a date for the diary, because I think that'd be a really good game against Ashton and Batwell, and that's down. That obviously, I mean, well, I say obviously, it's not obvious to everybody, but that's played down at Summerdale Pavilion, isn't it? Down where Fries
Yeah.
home pitch is.
Yeah, so
And
it's nice to be invited back to that, because I said it is a good cup with quite a bit of coverage.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's 3 games on that night, and I think there's 3 games on every night that week down there. So it's a little bit of a festival of football as well. So anybody that can make it down there to support a team and watch, and it's a nice setting down there as well, to be fair.
Yeah,
It'd be more than welcome. Any support always is welcome, isn't it? But
absolutely.
that's a nice place to go and watch football. That's on Thursday, the 18th of July, and that's a 6:45 kickoff. John, just going sort of back a little bit, obviously focusing on pre-season, but just going back a little bit, the end of season awards for last season, how did it go?
Again, another fantastic night, club night with everybody all together and family, friends, and all there to support. And it was a great night. I mean, we try to do things with the best that we can, and we put on and well, just do everything we can to the highest possible standard. So it was a great night. And if you allow me, I will go through the winners of each award, if you like.
Yes, please.
So the Golden Boot winner was Tom Blake this year. So it was a huge congratulations to Tom on being the Golden Boot winner for the club. The Playmaker Award went to, that's for somebody with the most assists, that went to Josh Gilborson. So again, a huge well done to Josh. Clubman of the Year in services to the club was awarded to Dan Little. And as you may know, Dan's actually joined the board of the club now and part of the ownership of the club.
Yeah, I did see that.
Throughout the season, I mean, Dan has done so much work as a player to help him with fun days and charity events, and absolutely, and he's a great member of the team. So very much deserved for Dan. Goal of the season, because obviously we record all our games where we got the chance to go back and view all the goals. And the goal of the season winner was Tom Blake, with a cracking sort of 25, 30-yard free kick, which bent into the top corner.
I remember, I do remember it well. It was a hell of a goal. I think I tweeted about it saying it was a crack.
Yeah. And I do have to put in an honourable mention, because we were in a bit of trouble with a certain player at our club, because Mr. Jack Cousins had a face like thunder on the night, because we showed the top 10 nominations for goals of the season. And Jack scored a Rabona over the goalie's, flicked out like over the goalie's head and went in, and we didn't use that as part of one of the 10 goals. So Jack was in an almighty mood with us. The reason it was left out was, and Jack will probably listen to this, whether it was an intentional Rabona over the goalie, or it looked more like a Rabona cross that fluked in. So apologies, Jack. You've got your mention. It was a cracking goal. But yeah, so Tom Blake won the goal of the season. Players player of the season was Josh Cleveley.
Yeah.
A fantastic award for Josh that night.
Yeah.
The most improved player was also Josh Cleveley. So Josh was a double award winner that night.
Yes, deserved. Yeah.
And I think the last one was manager's player of the year, which went to our captain Callum Rowan.
Oh, fair play.
So huge congratulations to all the players. I don't think I've missed anybody out in terms of awards. I think that's it, but forgive me if I have. But yeah, so it was a cracking night, and the lads enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. I couldn't be there because I was away, but I'm glad everybody had a good time, and congratulations to everybody that won an award. And to Jack, I suppose the only thing you could say is just score one like that again this season, and then make sure it's shown next season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no pressure though. Yeah, so that was a good way to sort of wrap up last season, and now it's all focused on the season coming up. So, yeah, so just to reiterate, the tournament is this Saturday. What time does it start Saturday, John?
We're the first game, so it's 10:45. So I think there's two games being played at the same time, and we're first team up, so 10:45 kickoff, and yeah, hopefully go through to the closing stages of 4 o'clock by being in the final and hopefully winning it.
How long are the games?
The games, because they've reduced the games, so the group stage games is 10 minutes long. So they've reduced it a little bit because England's playing at 5 o'clock in the quarterfinals.
Right.
So it's 10 minutes per game in the group stages, and then the knockout stages goes to 30 minutes per game.
Right. Okay. So was that 13 or 30?
30.
That's quite a big jump in it from 10 minutes to 30.
Yeah. So good luck to the lads on their fitness. If they've been working on their fitness, they should be fine. If
Yeah,
not,
no, definitely. Yeah, and
I
I would try my best to get there on Saturday and watch. Maybe not all day, but I'll hopefully come and watch some of it. John Carpenter, Carps as he's known. He's going to come on and do a podcast with us some point this week. So it'd be me and John doing one this week just to sort of introduce him to the listeners and sort of get a bit of an update on the reserve squad. So that would be a good listen. If anybody wants to listen to that'll be out later on this week. John, I think that pretty much covers everything for the moment from a pre-season point of view. We will have a catch up after a few pre-season games if you're happy with that.
Absolutely.
And like I said, anybody that wants to go and watch all the information, as we always said last season, all the information for the games is on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, every social media outlet. Go in the videos from last season, including the goals of the season, and including Jack's as well, or on YouTube. Just got to find the game that Jack scored that in, or watch there's a goal compilation, isn't there, from last season?
There is a goal compilation where Jax is actually on the.
He's in there, yeah. So he wasn't left out completely. That's good.
Perhaps anybody who's watching that video could leave in the comments actually if we owe Jack an apology and he did mean it, or if you thought it was actually a miss-it cross.
I'll have another look at it tonight, and I'll cast my expert eye over it. And the other thing that I thought was worth mentioning as well, definitely worth mentioning, is the charity summer fun day.
Yeah, so a huge day this year. As you know, each year we do a huge summer fun day.
Yeah.
At Imperial Sports Ground. This year we've teamed up with the charity is actually being supported by Imperial. They have a big cerebral palsy tournament this year, and it's a national one. So I think might have been based in Germany or Holland last time. It's over here and is at Imperial a little bit earlier than our event. But we've teamed up with them to support them because obviously their funding isn't fantastic. So anything we can do to help that charity. But yeah, it's going to be bigger this year. We're looking at planning on being sort of doubling the size of the one last year. So a great day's planned with lots of events for the kids, fun games for the kids. There's a lot of stalls there. Going to be there. It's going to be a fantastic day. So if you're at a loss on the Sunday, I think I'm going to say the 18th of August.
It is the 18th of August, yeah.
Yeah. Come along. It'll probably start around about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and it'll run through to about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it's going to be a big day. Lots to do there.
And for a good charity cause as well, so that's good.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, just to clarify, that's at Imperial as well. So it'll be a busy weekend at Imperial because there's 2 games on a Saturday. The first time reserves have got a game on a Saturday, and then all day they're on a Sunday. So happy days.
Busy weekend.
Yeah, busy indeed, yeah, mate. But yeah, thanks for joining us, John. Really appreciate it. Look after yourself. Enjoy the rest of the Euros, and I'm going to ask you one final question Who's going to win the Euros?
100% Spain.
That's not the answer that I wanted.
I have to be realistic. I'm still hoping England may find this miracle, whatever it is they need to kick on and start playing well. But unfortunately, I just cannot see it happening. And I think we may stumble in our very next game against Switzerland. But for me, Spain's been the best team in the tournament. So I'm hoping and praying for England, but my football head tells me Spain.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying, mate. But I'm going to finish on a very positive note and say that football's coming home. So we'll end on that note, mate. But thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. And I will see you soon. To all the listeners, thanks again for listening. And we hope you enjoy the content that we will be delivering this coming season. Have a good week, mate. Take care.
Cheers, James.
Cheers all.